Welcome back to the Center for Spiritual Living. We're here in Granada Hills, which is located in the North San Fernando Valley, Southern California. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. Nice to have you with us this evening. For those of you who are regulars, nice to have you back. Got a few folks in the sanctuary here. We got Renzen holding down the tech in the back, so maybe give Renzen a little love in the chat. Yeah, so he's here faithfully. We appreciate that. And our presider today is Reverend Kathy Lyons, who is our mistress of animal ministry. So, and Laura's here. So we're all set to go. So nice to have you back. So let's start by turning the lights down and taking a deep breath as we release and just let go of the day, the busyness, the worldly clamors, the domestic tugging, just releasing this time and claiming it as our own as we come together for our call to service, which we call lighting the flames of faith. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this evening. So as Reverend Kathy lights the first candle, it's for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the second candle for shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, way of primal spirituality. The third candle we light for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the fourth candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the fifth candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the sixth candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the seventh candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the eighth candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the ninth candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. The 10th candle we light for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of spirit in their lives, and for the space we hold for them here in our sanctuary, within our online community, and of course within our own hearts. And as Reverend Kathy lights the healing candle, remembering the places of conflict in the world, perhaps within your own heart, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love.
I'm thankful, so grateful. I'm one with the Spirit all around me. I'm thankful, so grateful. I trust in God. I surrender. I surrender. I'm one with the Spirit all around me. I surrender, I surrender, I trust in God.
So join me, please, as I speak my word in the first person for each one here and online, recognizing that beautiful presence, that inner presence of God, which is pure love and peace and guidance. And I am one with God, one with its love, peace, and guidance. And so I hereby proclaim right now that this evening, this meditation is a perfect and complete idea in the mind of God, where there is that love, peace, guidance within. And I now am open and receptive to whatever needs to be revealed tonight is revealed through me, and just knowing that because God is everywhere present and because God is all that there is, that I just know whatever I need to know and do for a life of peace, love, and fulfillment. And so how deeply grateful I am, how deeply appreciative that these words that I have spoken of love, peace, guidance, that they are now to the law of mind and cannot be returned to me void. So I know it is done, I know it is so, and together we say, and so it is. Yes, good evening, everyone. I love the month of May, partly because it's my birthday this month, and also because I love the extended daylight, and it's not too hot, not too cold, and it's a good time to be in nature. A couple of weeks ago, I went over to Descanso Gardens because I was really craving to have some kind of feeling of going somewhere to have kind of a little retreat, but I didn't have to drive very far or to stay overnight. And I really felt that connection with God just walking down those paths and with the flowers and the trees. And what I especially loved was just observing the trees. Thoreau says, nature is doing her best each moment to make us well. Why? Nature is but another name for health, and I certainly felt a rejuvenation. But what I observed about the trees, and I've always loved trees. When I was a kid, that was one of my favorite things to draw, even more so than cats when I was little. And I observed these trees, and each one had a different shape, different branches that swayed certain places. And I got to thinking about how trees, how that can be a kind of a metaphor for our own life. Each tree was unique in its own beauty, and the tree wasn't thinking, oh, well, I want to look like that tree that has a branch going out this way. And it was like they don't outline how they were going to look. It was like all the years that they've been present, I think with the wind and different climate environmental things, they just took on their own beauty. And so they weren't rigid. That's that they have flexibility. And so I know in the human experience, it's good to have flexibility. Reverend Mike, Reverend Susie, and Reverend Nancy and I, we were doing visioning and that's not visualization, it's visioning where we're just open and receptive to what Spirit is going to revealed to us. And so it was very fluid, and different things came up, because while I many times speak my word for a specific desire, but as Ernest Holmes says, that we can't outline, because if we outline too rigidly, that can be limiting. And I thought about these trees. If they were just like a building that was just straight and would never bend or anything, and it would lose its beauty. Obviously, we need office buildings, but for nature, I mean, it just has this beautiful flow and being open and receptive and just expressing unique beauty, each one of them. None of them were exactly the same. So my invitation to you is be like a tree, be open and receptive to flexible, and let your life unfold knowing it's for the highest good. And so it is. I have some announcements. Practitioners are always available. On Sunday, we're in the treatment room, or if you want to get in contact with a practitioner, you can go to CSLGH.org and go online, and we all have our pictures and get to know each of us. And if there's somebody you resonate to, give them a call, and they'd be delighted to treat. I'm delighted to treat for you too. The Law of Attraction group meets Sunday, May 12th at 1 p.m. It's on Zoom, and you can email Emily at joyvibrations@gmail.com. On Wednesday, May 15th, there's a new Sangha, so contact Reverend Nicole for information. And Sunday, May 18th, we're going to have a members' picnic, and we're going to stay tuned for more details. And the last announcement, summer music camp, July 8th through 12th, and then the summer theater camp is July 15th through 19th. And so grab a flyer and spread the news. And thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Rev. And thanks for sharing this evening. That was a nice one. Nice reminder about trees. And so our picnic is going to be it's called the Northridge Recreation Center. And it's on LaMarche Street. So for those of you like myself who like to go to Goodwill on Reseda and see what treasures, low-cost treasures there are, that's where LaMarche is. And so the park is like halfway between Reseda and Lindley. Yeah. Anyway, it'll be a nice spot. And for those of you, when we had, it's kind of anchored in our community because that was the first gathering that we had together in the COVID era. I don't know if COVID was over yet or if we just decided to hell with it. Let's get together and stay socially distanced outside, which we did. And so for those of you who know that spot, that's where we're going to be. So, and it's great to be back with you. It was great to get away. Steffi and I went up to Idlewild and had a few days off. And so thank you for not texting or emailing me while I was gone. And if you did, I apologize for not getting back to you because I was on vacation. And it's the first time really that I've not checked things while I was gone. Except that I'm on the waiting list for a Vipassana meditation. So they couldn't quite get me in. So there's a part of me that's hoping I won't get in. Because it's a 10-day silent retreat. And I've done one before when I started, right before I started this ministry, in fact. And I was joking today that the best thing about doing a Vipassana meditation is telling people you did a Vipassana meditation. But anyway, I feel like I'm ready to do another one. And so we'll see how that works out. But one of the things that was great about being on vacation, I actually read 2 novels. And we both read a lot and just rested and threw balls for the dogs and, short, like 2-mile hikes and stuff. But one of the books, it's going to go out in the library out front here, is entitled So Shines the Night by Tracy Higley. And I got it out of one of those little libraries, neighborhood libraries like we have out here. So it's going to go in there, but it's a trippy story because it's a story of a woman in Ephesus. So if you remember, a letter from St. Paul to the Ephesians, right? So it's that place. And and it's set in that time. So Paul is, he was a rabble rouser, you know, he was the first evangelist, I suppose, for this new Jewish sect that was just starting to become known as Christians. And so it's a story of a woman who's committed to her god. So the goddess of Ephesus is the goddess Artemis. So the city was all set up for that, and they were very serious. So in pagan religions, pagans took their religion seriously too. It's nothing new in the human realm. So it's, and they talk about mystery cults and some of this other stuff, and it's set in novel form. So anyway, she's written a couple of these books, I guess, Tracy Higley. So check it out. And she likes women heroines. So for those of you who like strong women in your reading, I'm guessing there's probably 5 or 6 here, and a bunch online. Check it out. I found it very interesting, and it's got a little, she also has a little romantic story in there too. So just to keep things interesting. Appropriate, of course. The other thing that I was thinking I would focus on tonight was friendship. The other thing that happened for Stephanie and I is that it was our 8th anniversary yesterday. So I was thinking about the gift of friendship, which was actually triggered by what you were speaking to, Reverend Kathy, when you were speaking to trees and how friendship can come in all kinds of forms, right? So that fellow Silverstein wrote the book, The Giving Tree, right? Where the tree is befriended this and loved this little boy who, of course, grew to be an old man. And the tree grew and, in fact, was cut down to a stump so that it could be, so now it was a place for the boy, now an old man, to sit. Not that Stephanie is a stump for this old man to sit on, but no, I hope she's not going to watch this later. But you just got me to thinking about friendship, because I had a poem that I was going to share with you about friendship. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. And well, I'll just read the poem, and then you'll see why my thinking has gone in these ways. And so as I read this, also for those of you here in the room and watching online, and for our spiritual community, this has been my experience of our community, and it's something that I fervently want for anyone who's connected with our group in any way, even Renzen. Where is he? All right, so it's entitled Friendship. The ultimate touchstone of friendship is not improvement, neither of the other, nor of the self. The ultimate touchstone is witness, the privilege of having been seen by someone, and the equal privilege of being granted the sight of the essence of another. To have walked with them, to have believed in them, and sometimes just have accompanied them for however brief a span on a journey impossible to accomplish alone. So that's by the poet David White, and a friend sent that to me on my birthday one year. So friendship is one of those things that it's kind of a loaded word in that, particularly in this day when, you have people who are friends on your Facebook page who aren't really friends, right? They're just collections of people. But yet, they still can be a reflection of a consciousness of love, hopefully, right? And certainly if we treated social media as a place to express loving kindness and compassion, it would be a completely different kind of platform, right? And yet each one of us is our own social media platform in consciousness, right? So we know as practitioners of this teaching that understand that we are human beings having this spiritual experience, that we are thinking into and thinking with a field of mind that resonates to our thought most effectively when that thought is accompanied by feelings of love, of compassion, of high regard, of wanting for the other that which you would want for yourself. Now, it also responds in other ways. And of course, the law can demonstrate and does demonstrate unconsciously as well. So that can be a good news, bad news proposition. Because when we're working from the default state, we're working from those unconscious levels of thinking, and then depending on the tenor of that, we demonstrate the life that we have. So what does that mean? Well, if I have, at the deepest levels of self, if I have a healed consciousness that's free of resentment, of envy, of fear, unresolved anger stuff, and instead have been working with affirmations of knowing that my life is full, is perfect, that is love expressing, that those aspects of the shadow within myself that I'm aware of, but particularly those that I am not aware of, I'm now open, receptive, that the healing love and light of the Most High is dissipating the shadows, that they dissolve into the nothingness from which they came. Right? So thoughts and doing our treatment work and our meditation work. Right? So in our meditation work, this stuff bubbles up. Right? The aggravations of life, the slights, the old resentments, right? Which is kind of amazing, right? Sometimes I'll meditate and something will bubble up that's like 50 years old. Like, wow, I thought I was done with that. And yet here it is. I can't think, I'm sitting here quietly and this is what I have to think about right now? So yes, right? And so we bless it and we release it, right? And if we should attach to it and our thinking spins out and off we go. We've almost pulled, the whole reel out by this fish of thought we've sunk our hook into, or sunk our, been hooked by. And we just reel it back in, knowing that it's just a thought. We release it. We return back to our thought. We turn back to our breath. Allow the mind to still. Don't judge ourselves for, whatever just transpired. Just observe and breathe. So that's really all a mindfulness practice is. But the benefits of it allow us to bring those aspects to life, but especially to friendship, to our relationships, right? Those places where we can just hold the space to witness, right? And to allow the other just to be, to say, to experience whatever it is that is coming forth from them, right? Now, we may not know that, right? We might think it's just, picking up the phone and listening to a girlfriend, talk about her frustrations about this or that, right? But when we can do that and not get attached to feelings of having to fix it or to advise anything, but just to say, how can I serve you? That's a big deal. And I think when we get to that spot, we've really grown spiritually as well. And the beauty of that, of course, we know that we live in this reciprocal law of attraction, right? So then we attract friends to us who have that capacity as well. So hopefully that's what's going on here in our spiritual community, right? And I would say, at least on Sundays, right, we can practice doing that for an hour or so, or even more, right? And then we take it out in the world and, practice it a bit more. And then, before you know it, you got a whole new covey of friends, a calmer mentality, a life that's full of dynamic, creative ideas, that we are intuitively expressing health, and without even really giving much thought or care to it. It just demonstrates as a natural expression of our spiritual practice. So now I'm going to practice not talking, so let's take a deep breath. I guess I had a lot more to say tonight than I thought. So taking a deep breath, and we release as we move into our mindfulness practice tonight. Maybe holding, time is your own to use as you care to, but maybe consider friendship. And from the place of witness, maybe even a place of the divine, giving witness to the divine. So we follow the breath. Check our posture. Just releasing any wiggles, jiggles, any itches. As we follow the breath. Focus on the breath, we see the mind begins to still. as we release our attachments to the care and concerns of the day by sharpening our focus on the breath and nothing more. Tummy rises and falls easily and naturally. To an easy, natural rhythm. Physical sensation is just a new focal point. Starting from the feet, up into the calf, the knees, the upper thigh. Any place we find any tension, we can just take a breath. And on the exhale, feel that tension unwind. Back to the breath, into the glutes now and the sit bones. Bring our focus to the sit bones, the spine, erect but free of tension. Maybe even feel the support of the chair. Head balanced on the spine. Chin slightly down. You'll feel the movement of the breeze or the air on the skin, a new focal point. Taking a deep breath together now and release as we move into the silence now for about 15 minutes. gently back into the room, staying with the breath. As we turn down the McMorrow just a little bit, I want you to, in your mind's eye, project an image of a light body in front of you. Body that has a resonance, a vibration rather than solid form. Body that has you bring to mind someone whom you love dearly in this projected image, this projected light image. Feel that love, the love of friendship, of deep abiding, of caring without caretaking, a heart-to-heart connection. With this light body of which you are showering vibrations of love, feelings of love, imagine this light body now as your reflection, as in a mirror. So starting from the feet all the way up to the top of your head, loving every part of it. We're taking a deep breath. We love our ankles, giving love to our calf muscles, our knees, all the joints that hold all that together, the thigh muscles, the hamstrings, up into the glutes. We're just showering all these areas with love. And any sense of tension, blockage or shadow, we're just allowing the light of love to fortify them, and we're appreciating the mobility that we currently have, even though we know that in this exercise we're strengthening our own body with love itself into our reproductive organs, into our stomach and abdomen, loving, feeling a deep sense of loving and deep respect and abiding. All the aspects of our abdomen, the spleen, the liver, all the organs whose names we don't know, but we know are designed and patterned with a pattern of perfection, that we're loving, that we're feeling the love of that expression of perfection into the body, the thoracic body, the esophagus, the lungs, our heart, give a few moments to just love our heart. That aspect of universal mind that serves us perfectly throughout our lifetime, never stopping even once. We love our heart. We take a breath and feel with gratitude our lungs, our shoulders, our arms, our hands. Appreciate the gift of our hands and the dexterity. Into the throat now. We learned tonight the throat chakra, the color blue. Feel the healing color of blue as we love our throat, the organ of outward communication, the wellspring of kind words. For our mouth, we're grateful for our teeth, our tongue, the joy of taste, our sense of smell that allows us to smell the trees Reverend Kathy was speaking to have the full sensory experience of this wonderful human life. We love our nose, our ears, our eyes, our hair. That we just love all of it, that we're releasing any sense of judgment around what it is not, that we're releasing any human idea, and instead we're seeing the changeless being that we are in this changing body which we inhabit. With a deep sense of love and in our inner eye, just giving ourselves, this light body self, a big hug until we feel itself seated within our own biological body. We feel, in this moment, we feel a sense of, maybe a sense of joy, of deep contentment, of health and strength, as we know together that there is but one power, one presence, one source, one mind. It is consciousness, and consciousness is what I am. Consciousness is what we are. And so as consciousness, we are now allowing ourselves to feel the expression of a physical body, expressing as the perfect consciousness of the Most High, and feeling its perfect health and strength in every way, in body, mind, and spirit. That we are leaving here tonight feeling wholehearted, feeling restored and energized, and maybe even motivated to express this loving kindness and compassion with others in new ways that are uniquely courageous for ourselves. So we take a deep breath and release. So for those of us in the room here, as we leave here this evening, we arrive home safely and in good order. And for all of us, as we make our way through the rest of this evening, finding our ways to our bed, that we allow the resonance of this mindfulness exercise to continue to fortify us through the night as we slip off into a deep and restful sleep, with sweet dreams of climbing trees, of the smell of spring, the joy of life, that we awaken feeling fully rested and restored with an excitement for the day, that we consciously step into a consciousness of knowing that this is the day the Lord has made, that we rejoice in it. Taking one more breath. And in its release, know we are anchoring these thoughts, the cares, concerns, inspirations, aspirations of anyone listening now or later. It is anchored now fully in the deepest aspects of consciousness. And so in gratitude now, we just let it go, knowing it is done, knowing it is so. Together we acknowledge this by saying, and so it is. Amen. So, thank you for being here this evening. For those of you who are mothers, happy Mother's Day. I will be doing something outside of our community this Sunday with my outlaws. And so my heartfelt blessing upon all of those who are, in fact, mothers, and those of you who have been mothers to all sorts of beings, including the children that you have served through the world. So until then, peace and blessings. Know that you're loved, and we'll see you next time. You can join us at 10:30, live streaming. Well, it'll be Mother's Day, so it'll definitely be the love stream on Sunday, where we have Reverend Nancy and Reverend Nicole will be our featured speakers. So until then, peace and blessings. We'll see you next time.